I bought my first rental property at 40 in April 2021. I had no experience, a ton of doubts, minor panic attacks, and honestly, no idea if this real estate thing really works. In the next 3 minutes, I'm sharing the real numbers: income, expenses, cash flow, and cash on cash return from that first year, so you can decide if this path is worth it for you. After a year of analyzing deals and making offers, I finally closed on my first rental. It was a turnkey property that I purchased for $123,000. I put 20% down, and after some minor repairs and buying an appliance, my total all-in cost, down payment, closing costs, and make ready came to about $30,500. Since this was an out-of-state rental, I knew I didn't have the experience or time to manage it myself. I had a W-2 job, and managing tenants and repairs remotely just wasn't realistic. So during escrow, I started interviewing property managers. I interviewed 4 property managers. I ended up choosing someone who had experience managing several properties in the same neighborhood. He wasn't the cheapest. He charged a substantial fee of the first month's rent and 10% of rent after that, but only if the tenant paid, which kept our incentives aligned. He also walked through the property before closing, giving me a second layer of insight beyond the inspection report. Even though it was a turnkey property, there were still a few things to fix. Time was critical, so we coordinated everything in advance. The property was listed for rent the very next day after closing, and within 2 weeks, he found a qualified tenant. It rented for $1,100 a month, and the tenant moved in just before the end of April. We closed on April 7, but the first mortgage payment wasn't due until June 1, which was a nice surprise and gave me a bit of breathing room. Because it was turnkey, repairs were minimal that first year. When evaluating for cash on cash return, there are 2 numbers that I look at: actual numbers and budgeted numbers. So here are my actual numbers for 2021. Rent collected, $9,130. Property management fees, $1,463. Repairs and maintenance, $215. PITI, which is mortgage, taxes, and insurance, $4,095, which gave me a cash flow of $3,357. And the cash on cash return was 11%. This isn't exact science because technically at the end of 2021, it had not been 1 full year yet, but these were the numbers I used to evaluate the property's performance for that year. I was very pleased with the performance of this asset after 8 months. I want to call out that it is important to budget for repairs, maintenance, and vacancy because they do come up. As I mentioned in my previous videos, after budgeting for repairs, maintenance, and vacancy, the budgeted cash on cash return was closer to 7%. And those repairs, maintenance, and vacancy, they did come up in the next couple of years. Are you curious about the performance of the next few years? Let me know in the comments if you'd like me to talk more about this first rental and the succeeding year's performance. My takeaways from this first year and this first rental were the following. Number one, doing the work upfront is really important. Before I bought this first rental property, it was more than a year of educating myself through reading, watching YouTube videos on real estate investing, analyzing deals, and making offers. I think this year of work and discipline really helped me with the results of this first deal. Number two, property managers are so critical. For me, my property manager is probably the most important team member because this is the person who I'm entrusting the management of the rental to. Finding a qualified tenant within 2 weeks of closing was really a momentum boost for me. And number three, a turnkey property was a good option for a first-time investor in midlife like me. I was completely clueless about repairs and rehabs. Still not very competent in this even today. And frankly, I didn't have time to learn about rehabbing a property to get the highest return. So finding a turnkey property in the MLS and turning it into a rental was a much smoother path with less variables and less potential for costly mistakes for me. I didn't know everything, and I still don't, but that first rental at 40 got me into the real estate game. It gave me the experience, momentum, and confidence. It gave me a small, contained environment to learn and make mistakes without disastrous impact. I felt like, oh, I can actually do this, and it actually works. So if you're in your 30s or 40s, wondering if it's too late to get in the game, I hope this shows you it's absolutely not. I'd love to hear from you. For those of you who are starting out, what are some of your challenges? I'd love to hear in the comments what would be a helpful content to talk about. If you found this helpful, a like and a subscribe would mean a lot. I'm sharing more about this journey, including mistakes, wins, and how I'm navigating midlife, money, and miles. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.